Gomberg, you have 3 minutes.
Actually, I'm sorry.
He's got 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Whatever. Well,
The 3-minute round starts after this one, excuse me.
let's try to clarify some things. First, do I think that various killers acted wrongly? Yes, of course I do. But I will also add that it's irrelevant to the topic of the debate tonight. The debate tonight is whether there are absolute standards. Let me go to another example, which some of you actually, if you're military veterans, may well have faced, and I'll bet many more of you through your families have faced this question. We regard, and I regard, the killing of Darian Albert as being wrong. Yet, many who, now let me use the example of the Ten Commandments. Thou shalt not kill, right? So does every U.S. soldier and pilot act immorally when they enter the military and do as their country tells them? That's not what our culture tells us. I'm not sure how Professor Firestone would answer that question, but it would seem that if you take the Ten Commandments at its word, that it says, thou shalt not kill. Now let me just add a huge place where relativism does come into morality, and it's very hard for us to escape it. And that is, we often have the same moral rules, but we don't have the same moral group that we apply the rules to. Right? And it's in what the group is, what is your group or your people, that often these distinctions are made. When I was referring to the Ten Commandments, I was assuming that the moral group was who? Everybody in the world, every single human being. But it's very clear that in many people's morality, if you are a combatant, or if you're not in the U.S. military, or if you live in another country, somehow or other your death does not count the same. By the way, this is another example on the same point. When you watch the news at night, are the lives of foreign nationals valued the same as the lives of U.S. citizens? They're not, right? There are real people, and then there are, I'm just saying, that is the culture that we're immersed in. And it's an interesting question, you know. So, back to what's the philosophical point. I make moral judgments. All I'm arguing is that morally there are no absolutes. Okay? Now let me respond to some of the specific things that Professor Firestone said. He's right. I do not share with most of you your belief in God. Does that mean that nothing has any meaning or any point? No, not at all. I don't think my life has no meaning and no point. But it has the meaning and point that I give to it. There is no one else to tell me what the meaning of my life is. I have to give my life its meaning through the way that I live. That's what my view is on that question. About the example of the Ku Klux Klan, right? I'll assume, which it is true, I'm sure, of some of them, that some members of the Ku Klux Klan or Chicago police, what's the difference, have a morality, right? They have a morality, right? And yeah, I judge that their morality is wrong. But mainly, when I get down to how would I, suppose you are thinking of becoming a cop. I'm not going to say that would be wrong, even though I believe that. I'm going to say, look at what cops do. Do you want to do that? What effect would that have on you? One more example, which some of you who have experience...
30 seconds.
military may know that it's true. I talked about, you know, going to Afghanistan and killing Afghan people, right? One way of thinking of that, which I think is correct, is of course that is very bad for those people. What about the people who kill them? What effect does it have on them? It does, right? It has a very profound effect. And remember, I'm Vietnam generation. A whole bunch of people of my generation went to Vietnam, and even the ones that made it back and made it back whole physically didn't come back whole in their minds. And most of it probably was because of things that they did. It was things that they did that created problems for them. Now, Professor Firestone, actually, I've just given him a terrific opening, you realize, because he would say that's because there is an absolute morality, and even though they thought what they did was right, that what they did was wrong, and it came back to get them, right? Yeah, right. Okay, and so we'll let him do that, and then we'll come back.